I would start out today's vlog by sort of explaining, there's hair on my camera. Anyway, sort of explaining the whole like copyright claim situation with this record company. I'm just not gonna say the name of the record company. It's out there, you guys can figure it out, but I'm gonna explain it a little bit better because I feel like there's a little bit of confusion about like why I'm so upset about it and why it's immoral and unscrupulous, and how I'm a little bit nervous because I did appeal this copyright claim, and if they decide to uphold it, it's basically my appealing their copyright claim is basically like back off or sue me. That's basically what it says. So so I'll explain a couple of things. So when I was in college, I had to take a music history course, and we did basic talk about copyright with music, especially classical music. So the copyright system was, I think, generated or created in like the 1700s, and some works are created. Some works that were created around that time are protected by copyright, but mostly we're talking about works created after 1923. So a very famous work that has recently become public domain is we have no bananas today. That song, we have no bananas today. So that song is recently come into public domain. Anyone can perform it, and it's not, no one can claim that's theirs. So the way that copyright claims work on YouTube is that there's a difference between a copyright claim and a copyright strike, right? So a copyright claim is when a company comes along and says, we have spotted that there's some material in your video that belongs to us. We have the rights to it. We want some of your revenue from that video, or all of it. They can either have some of it or all of it. That's a copyright claim. That nothing happens to your channel. It's perfectly fine. You can either appeal it or just like live with it. I have never let a copyright claim slide. I get a lot of fraudulent copyright claims from sketchy companies, and most of the time they just let it go. So, and a copyright strike is a violation of YouTube terms of service, in which you have a strike on your channel. You can't live stream for a period of time. It lapses after, I think, 90 days, but then if you get 3 of them, your channel gets deleted, so it's a big deal. And if you appeal a copyright claim, so you have choices when you get a copyright claim, and they are to dispute it, and then if it comes back saying, no, it's still valid, by the way, the copyright claimant has full control over this process. The YouTube does not get involved. They don't want to get involved in this. And if they say it's still valid, then you can appeal, and if that appeal gets rejected, then it goes into either a legal process. They can either ask you to take down your video, which is a DMCA claim, a DMCA takedown, sorry, or they can block your video and put a strike on your channel. So it's bad. Anyway. Or they can do nothing and it lapses after 30 days and like it gets released and you get all your money back. So the performance from yesterday's video, not yesterday's video, the video before, was of me, Kay Patterson, soprano, singing a work by a composer named Claudio Monteverdi. Claudio Monteverdi died he was Italian, wrote lots of great stuff, died in 1643. So we're talking about Baroque music. We're talking about almost a contemporary of Shakespeare. So copyright covers works written after 1923, and then 70 years, I think 50 years in some countries, or like 100 years. The terms have changed a little bit in the past few years, but it doesn't cover 500 years, which we're talking about now. So works of J.S. Bach, Mozart, Telemann, Handel, Shakespeare again, Mary Shelley, what other authors? Jane Austen. Those things are free to use, public domain. So I think there's some like rumors going around YouTube that say you're allowed to use copyright material for 15 seconds. That's not true. If you use even 1 second of a copyrighted something, they can come after you, take your money, and strike your channel, all that stuff. So it's best to not do that. So in those terms, Claudio Monteverdi, a composer who died in 1643, all of their material that they've written, all of their operas, motets, what the piece I performed is called Laudate Dominum in Sanctis Eius, It is a little motet, about 4 minutes. I can perform that whole piece. The music is actually available, free to download for you from imslp.com. I'll put it down in the description. That is a website that has all like public domain music for you to use, all editions for you to read from. My performance of this piece is no problem at all. Like legally, no problem at all. No one owns the rights to Monteverdi. No one owns the rights to Bach. No one owns the rights to Handel. No one owns the rights to Telemann, etc. The difference is, if you record this piece, I own the rights to my recording of my singing this piece. And any record company or music publishing company that like has an artist who records music, like let's say they get an orchestra together and they record, you know, the Monteverdi Vespers, that recording, that sound recording is under copyright, right? So you can't just take this sound recording and put it in your YouTube video and say that, oh, it's like not, it's copyright free. No, that they own copyright to that sound recording. However, they don't own the copyright to the original work. So Monteverdi Vespers, this beautiful choral work with orchestra, anyone can perform that at any time. There may be some issues with getting certain additions of scores, like the sheet music, like if there have been like changes made in the additions, that's a whole other thing where there needs to be permission. However, if it's just like the original score, like handwritten stuff from the composer or like somebody put it out free online, that's again totally free to use, has nothing to do with the music publishing company. So what they are doing, so think about it in terms of, if it's not music, we'll talk about Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Yes, a work that is, when was that written? 1500s? I could be wrong, but I'm thinking 1500s. You know the play, and if you read this play out loud on your YouTube channel, it's fine. It's public domain. Anyone can do it, and we've seen like movie studios remake their adaptations of this play over and over again. Sorry, the Roomba's outside. It's just making a lot of noise. I hope it doesn't make too much noise. But this example is akin to like me reading the Romeo and Juliet play out loud, the original play, out loud on YouTube, and 20th Century Fox, who did a film adaptation in 1996, coming after me and saying, oh no, we want some of that money because we did Romeo and Juliet too, and you know, we own the copyright to Romeo and Juliet when it's public domain. So things that are super old, and we're also talking about pieces of art, literature, things like that are under a thing called public domain, in which there is no restriction to use them. So it's not about the money to me at this point. It's about the principle. It's about the principle of these big music publishing companies being vultures and taking small businesses, me and individual artists, my own personal performance of a piece in the public domain, and trying to take part of my revenue from it when it has nothing to do with them at all. Like it's ridiculous, and it's copy fraud. It's copy fraud. It's illegal. It can have super serious repercussions. However, I don't believe that this particular music publisher has ever gotten in trouble. Well, I don't know if they've actually gotten in trouble, because apparently this is happening a lot all the time. So anyway, what happens on YouTube is I can, when I get the copyright claim notice, I can say, I can dispute. I can say, nope, it's public domain. You don't have the rights to it. Please leave me alone. And they get a chance to review it. And in this case, it was very quick, which makes me think like it's either a machine or like someone who has no idea what they're doing reviewing it, because like usually it takes like a day or something for that to come back. It came back within minutes and said, nope, the claim is still valid. And so at that point, I have a chance to appeal, in which I have to send my entire like personal information, my address, my name, email address, to this claimant and say, you have no rights to take money from me. You don't own copyright on this material. Back off or take me to court. That's basically what the appeal is. So that you can either back off or they can do something legal, which they basically have they don't have the rights to because it's public domain. But it's just the principle of it. And I did point out in a comment that we were talking about, it's an interesting discussion. We were talking about works from composers of the earliest 20th century, like Prokofiev, Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky. Those composers' families, and forgive me if maybe not all of those families, but those composers' families in early 20th century have actually purchased or have actually renewed the copyright that that would have lapsed. So some of those pieces are still under copyright, like Prokofiev. Some Tchaikovsky pieces I know are still under copyright. Some aren't, I think. Maybe I'm lying about that, but I know that some 20th century composers, like classical composers, even if they were writing music after or before 1925, may have some copyrighted stuff going on with it. However, things written definitely before 1700, because there was no copyright system at all to protect the work in the first place. So if the work was never under copyright at all, ever, because the copyright system was established in the 1700s, then it doesn't apply. So that's that. But just know, it does get a little squirrely with like some late Romantic and like early 20th century composers. We did discuss that actually in music history class, I remember that. But so technically anything before 1700 for sure, again, works of Mozart, Bach, Telemann, Handel, all those Renaissance composers, it's public domain. You have the right to perform it. You have the right to perform as much as you want of it. Your whole channel can be you singing Josquin, and it's fine. No one should come after you. So for your money. Anyway, that's why I was so upset, and that's why I did appeal, and I'm scared that like they're gonna be like, do something to my channel, but that's just what I believe I'm in the right here. So, and it made me feel like I was crazy, you know, like I was like, are you really going to claim that you own a piece of work that's 500 years old? 500 years old. That's really old. Like, that's super old. Like, let it go. I don't even know how much money the video made. I mean, we're talking about like pennies, okay? If you're going to be honest, if I'm going to be honest, like I make more from sponsorships and, you know, some videos that take off and do really well. I mean, in general, these kinds of videos are not making a lot of revenue, so I don't know what they're doing, but it's the principle, it's not the money. So anyway, I wanted to explain that. So it is not okay, by the way, to use copyrighted material on YouTube without transforming it or without permission from the copyright holder. So that, I just want to be transparent there. Again, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. There is also something called fair use, where you can use copyrighted material in your video if you're using it for transformative, or you're commenting on it, or you're criticizing it, etc., etc. Fair use is slippery slope, and it can only really be decided in a court of law whether or not something is fair use. However, works in the public domain do not fit in this little fair use thing. If they're in the public domain, it's a whole other category of material, and this said publishing company needs to back up, or I will take off my earrings and I'm gonna throw hands. So today I have a coaching at like 5 o'clock, so I'm just gonna like just be really low-key until then, but I wanted to organize the spices at the top of my kitchen cabinet, because we have all these extra spices because we've moved about 1 billion times, and a couple of those times our spices have been in a box in storage, you know, when we had stuff, and we had our whole kitchen in storage in the suburbs, when we were living in the suburbs, and we've accumulated a lot of spices. So I just want to get those under control before it gets too long. So I want to take you guys on the journey, and you may hear the Roomba. I'm very sorry. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, I just stuck a bunch of spices up there. Look at them, they're all, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. So I'm gonna fill the spice drawer with as much as I can. Here's the spice drawer. So that has all of our like most used spices. I don't know what the onion powder is doing in here, but I mean, we'll take care of it. And also, I brought out this. This is the old 2-layer Lazy Susan, still good after all these years. I think I've had this baby like 10 years or so. She's been around a long time. Maybe that can help ease some of the disorder up here. So we'll give it a shot. All right, we have 2 garlic powders. Why? I don't know. We have 2, what are these, cayenne peppers? Oh my gosh. Okay, I emptied 1 jar of oregano, so yay. This chili powder. I remember this chili powder. This chili powder was from the beginning of the lockdown when chili powder, for some reason, was so hard to find and I had to order this off Amazon. Look how much we've used since. I use a lot of chili powder, but I was so upset. I was like, why is chili powder like a hot commodity? I don't understand. It was hilarious. Okay, we did it. I'm actually super pleased how it came out. I think my husband's gonna be pleased too because it was like kind of unwieldy when we were like refilling the spices, and I think this method is so much better. Still not like my favorite, but it's gonna help us whittle down all the extra spices until we use them all. So we found a new job for this Lazy Susan, which was just kind of sitting around. And the bottom one is just the ones earlier in the alphabet. So you've got the C's, the G's, basically the C's and the G's, but down here. And up here we have everything else. So we've got the za'atar, the thyme, the seasoning salt, paprika, onion powder, oregano, all that stuff up there. And so now when we need to refill, and there's some little other spices that don't really fit anywhere, like the Szechuan peppercorns. By the way, these are so good. We put these in so Asian style dishes if we need a little extra kick. They work, well, they have a numbing sort of effect, but if you put like hot stuff in there too, like hot pepper in there too, together, oh, so good. And like there's some shawarma mix and like other stuff that we've mixed, like Cajun seasoning, I think this one is. It's not labeled. Actually, let me smell it, see if it's Cajun seasoning. Nope, this one's shawarma mix. Is the other one Cajun seasoning? Okay, we're talking about this little guy. Let's see. Is it Cajun seasoning? Oh no, it's shawarma mix. I have 2 different shawarma mixes here? Are you, really? Yeah, that one's shawarma mix. And this one's also shawarma? Wait a minute. That one's also shawarma seasoning, but like different. Okay. I don't know. I think maybe I made one and my husband made the other because they both have like a shawarma flavor, but this one obviously different color and different flavor. This one tastes really heavily of cumin and this one tastes more like cloves. I don't know. So I guess we're gonna have to use those at some point. I do make my own seasoning blend if I don't have it, but so it looks like my husband and I both did this. So we'll use these up. Let me wash the top of this. It's all dirty. Okay. Anyway, that's for the homemade blends and the special stuff and the stuff that doesn't really fit, like this chili lime powder. Actually, how much is left in that? I feel like there's not a lot. Oh, there's a lot left in here. Wait a minute. Is this Cajun seasoning? No, it's chili lion powder. You know what? I swear we do have a Cajun seasoning somewhere, or maybe we used it all up. I think I might have used it all up. But anyway, that is that. Anyway, I think this is much better than before, right? It was so much better than like all those spices in those bins. That was like that for like 7 months. Horrible. And the rest of this cabinet has some trivets, a little spoon rest, the oven mitts and stuff, salt and pepper, and another spoon rest, and like the doggy teeth additive, and like all of our oils and vinegars here. So now here are the most used spices ready to go, and the backups and occasional spices up there ready to go, but you gotta use a step stool. That's the only caveat. Short video today because I gotta practice my recitative for my coaching and get ready for rehearsal tonight, but we'll do like a part 2 video and I'll take you with me. So I will catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye. See you tomorrow.